Good evening to you once again. President Cyril Ramaphosa will address the nation at 7 o'clock this evening on the country's risk-adjusted response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So his address comes as the country is experiencing a sustained decline in transmission, and the speculation is that he will move the country to alert level 1. So government imposed a strict lockdown in March to stop the spread of the coronavirus. The controls brought South Africa's economy to a near standstill, with the gross domestic product shrinking to 51% in the 3 months through June from the previous quarter. President Ramaphosa is expected to spell out a proposed economic recovery plan. NEDLAC has agreed on an action plan for economic recovery, which is due for consideration and finalization by Cabinet. The President, who chairs the NEDLAC Forum for Economic Recovery, is also expected to detail an agreement when he addresses the nation this evening. So ahead of the President's address this evening, let's speak now to SABC political editor Mzwandile Mbeje, who now joins me live. A very good evening to you, Mzwandile. Thanks indeed for your time. So, Mzwandile, there's lots of speculation, of course, this evening that the country will move to alert level lockdown 1. And with your ear on the ground, is this what is likely to happen?
Well, thank you very much, Criselda. I mean, everybody has been speculating about what exactly is going to be happening when the President then announces the next move this evening. It's quite clear that given what has been happening in terms of our cases and the infections, that the country is ready really to move to a lower level. I think the Health Minister, Mzwandile Mbeje, has been intimating in the past few days to say the progress that they've been witnessing point to a situation where the country really can be able now to start looking at the issues of the economy. And of course, you know that later on, so I'll also be joined by my colleague Arabile Gumede, who will speak more on what the President will say insofar as the economic recovery plan is concerned. But basically what will happen is that the President is likely to announce that the country will move to level 1. And then what does that really mean? It basically means the issue of borders. The borders are supposed to be opened, and then that will inject a lot insofar as the economy is concerned. But of course, they can't be reckless because you don't want a situation where you open up the country and then the new surge happens, and then you start overwhelming your health facilities again. So he will have to really strike a very delicate balance in making sure that the economy is now getting back on track, but of course you are not being reckless by getting the country back into a situation where we will not be able to deal with this pandemic should it rise again. So that is the kind of the statement we are expecting. And as I was saying, my colleague Arabile will speak more later on when you speak to him on the economy and the recovery plan that the President has been speaking about. You know, he's met a number of stakeholders. He's met with the Presidential Coordinating Council. He's been at NEDLAC. He's met Cabinet itself, and of course other various stakeholders to try and craft the plan that will get the country back on track again, Criselda.
Mzwandile, while there is great expectation that the President might tell us that we'll move to level 1, there is, of course, this delicate balance that you speak about. I guess of great concern, this will also mean that many more industries will open, many more people will go back to work, many more people will be occupying public transport to and from work. So on issues of health and safety within the workplace and in public areas as well, this is certainly something that the President will speak quite extensively about, is it?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that you will hear that the President will perhaps say repeatedly will be to say, as much as there is progress, there are some of the things that will remain in place. For example, the issue of social distancing, the issue of wearing masks, washing hands, sanitizing, and all those. So those will essentially remain in place because they really seem to have helped a great deal. So even if you open up, you don't want them to be reckless, as we are saying. So what will happen is that the president will then announce those measures that are meant to kickstart the economy, are meant to get the country back on track. But at the same time, you make sure that those measures that had been taken, which have seen to work, which have been seen to work, like social distancing and stuff like that, so those will still have to remain in place. And I think we've been hearing, even from the experts in the past, saying, so even if we get back to normal, so it will be a new normal because we'll have to adopt things that we were never used to. I mean, if you, Griselda, yourself, if you meet someone on the corridor without a mask, you get a bit scared. So clearly, we are now starting to internalize that kind of a normal because whatever we do in terms of trying to get back to our normal, this normal will now be a new normal.
SABC political editor Mzwandile Mbeje just giving us perhaps what we can expect from the president come 7 o'clock this evening.